Good evening, welcome to Wednesday's Midlands Today from the BBC. Tonight, one of the oldest football clubs in the region's on the brink of collapse. On the day players and staff failed to receive their wages, the taxman's issued a winding-up order.
Port Vale, whose fans include pop superstar Robbie Williams and former world darts champion Phil the Power Taylor, could slip into administration this week for the second time in 10 years. The club's directors have asked the council for help to get them into administration.
The financial crisis at Vale Park has been developing for several months now against a background of boardroom rows and the fans' frustration. Bob Hockenhull reports.
Playing on what should have been payday. Port Vale reserves were in action against Stoke reserves this afternoon, knowing they wouldn't be getting their wages. It was after last night's 1-1 derby with Crewe that the news was broken to players by manager Mickey Adams. Other staff were told this morning they're all owed a month's salary.
We're working class lads at the end of the day. We're not Premiership footballers with a lot of savings in the bank to fall back on, and a lot of players live hand to mouth every month, and that's enough, and they rely on the money coming in at the end of the month.
Port Vale have been struggling with dire financial problems for years. Heavily in debt, the club's recently been accused of breaching the conditions of a £2.25 million loan from the council. And Vale don't have the legally required number of directors after former chairman Peter Miller resigned from the board this week. Ironically, all this trauma comes at a time when Port Vale are having a good run. They're unbeaten in 6 games, 8th in the league, and a realistic contender for the playoffs. Fans wanting to see the current board ousted have staged protests throughout the season. Today they gathered outside the club awaiting news. Even though it'll mean the deduction of 10 points, many felt going into administration is now the best option.
Administration may be a more attractive, although it's a horrible situation to be in, maybe a more attraction option which will bring a good investor.
Any organisation that doesn't listen to its supporters is bound to fail.
Port Vale was established in 1876 and prides itself on being a family club. Supporters say they're determined to get behind the players for Saturday's match at Accrington.
If there's any problem with regards to transport or anything like that, the supporters club are here, and it's just a message really to Mickey and the boys. The supporters are 100% behind you.
Millionaire businessman Mo Chowdhury has previously said he'd like to take control at the club. Many fans, desperate to see an end to this sorry saga, feel he may be the key to bringing an end to Port Vale's woes. Bob Hockenhull, BBC Midlands Today, Staffordshire.
Well, BBC Radio Stoke sports presenter John Akers joins us now. John, administration looks inevitable, doesn't it?
It really does. The club have been issued with a winding-up petition. That's the news this afternoon, Nick, by the HMRC. That's for unpaid taxes. The club are in real trouble. They failed to pay the players and the staff today, as you've heard just a little bit earlier on. So it's just a question, really, of how and when they go into administration. The club have, in fact, asked the City Council, the major creditor, to help them go into administration, and we hope to have a statement in the next few days. It might not be today, though, and it might not be tomorrow.
Now, fans inevitably will be very worried tonight. What do you think the future holds for Port Vale now? I mean, is businessman Mo Chowdhury the plan B, do you think?
Well, he could be the plan A, Nick, to be honest. I don't know how many other options are out there. He's a local millionaire businessman who has tried to buy the club before. A number of fans are pinning their hopes on him that he will try and pick the club up on the cheap. But I think the 10-point deduction is going to hurt them in their playoff push, and the future is very, very uncertain right now.
John Akers, thank you.
Thanks for being with us this evening. Later in the programme.